Most people spend their entire survival budget on gear. You bought the level IV ceramic body armor. You bought the tactical tomahawk that looks cool on Instagram, but is functionally useless for anything other than opening Amazon packages. You stockpiled enough 556 ammunition to fight a small war in a third world country. You think you are ready because you have mastered the inventory, but you have completely ignored the variable that actually kills you. The variable is human software. When the grid fails, the supply chain snaps, and the water stops flowing, the thin veneer of civilization evaporates in exactly 72 hours. That is the time it takes for 9 meals to be missed. Once that caloric deficit hits the people around you, your neighbors, your coworkers, the PTA mom down the street, undergo a factory reset. They stop being citizens and start being biological machines, driven by the oldest, ugliest code in our DNA. You are not preparing for a movie villain. You are not preparing for zombies. You are preparing for Dave from accounting who hasn't eaten in 4 days and just realized his family is going to die. We are going to break down the 5 specific psychological archetypes that emerge in a collapse. We will dissect their brain chemistry, their threat level, and the physics-based trash-engineered methods you will use to neutralize them without firing a single shot. Because if you pull a trigger, you have already lost the silence, and silence is the only armor that works forever. Let's talk about the first threat, the high velocity hero. This is the guy who has been waiting for the apocalypse, like it's the Super Bowl. He has a closet full of camouflage patterns that don't match your environment. He has a rifle with more attachments than a Swiss Army knife. When the lights go out, he doesn't hunker down, he gears up. He thinks he is the protagonist. He thinks he is the sheepdog protecting the flock. Scientifically, he is a biological liability vibrating with cortisol. Here is the physiology of why he kills you. Under the extreme stress of a collapse, the human body dumps a cocktail of epinephrine and cortisol into the bloodstream. This causes a sympathetic nervous system overload. When his heart rate spikes above 145 beats per minute, he suffers from vasoconstriction. Blood leaves his hands and goes to his core. He loses fine motor skills, he loses near vision focus, he experiences auditory exclusion. This means the high-velocity hero is effectively blind, deaf, and clumsy, but he is holding a weapon with a 3-pound trigger pull. He will patrol the neighborhood. He will try to enforce martial law on his cul-de-sac. He will bang on your door to check on you, or coordinate defense. If you open that door, you are exposing yourself to his panic. He draws attention, he draws fire, and when the real bad guys show up, he will freeze or miss. Because shooting at paper targets on a Saturday is not the same as shooting at moving targets, while your body is dumping waste chemicals into your muscles. Your survival strategy here is aggressive non-existence. You do not engage him, you do not team up with him. You treat him like a walking explosive device. You use light discipline. You black out your windows using heavy wool blankets or duct tape and cardboard layers to ensure zero photon leakage. If he knocks, you do not answer. Let him exhaust his adrenaline and his ammo supply fighting shadows. Physics is on your side here. A bullet fired by a panicked hero at a noise in the bushes is just as lethal as a bullet fired by a looter. Stay low, stay dark. Let the main character get cancelled in the first act. The second deadly archetype is the community organizer. This threat is insidious because it looks like help. This is the person who immediately tries to form a committee. They want a neighborhood meeting, they want to pool resources, they want a list of who has a generator, who has medical supplies, and who has food. They use words like tribe, community, and fair share. In a normal world, this is civic duty. In a survival scenario, this is an intelligence gathering operation for future looting. The psychology here is driven by a desperate need for control. The organizer is terrified of the chaos, so they try to bureaucratize the apocalypse. But here is the brutal math of communism in a crisis. Redistribution only works when there is production. When production stops, redistribution is just a slow death spiral. If you put your name on their list, you have painted a target on your house. When the group runs out of food in week 2, they will look at that list. They will see you have 50 pounds of rice, and the mob will come to collect your contribution for the greater good. You survive this by playing the gray man bluff. You do not tell them to go away. That makes you a hostile entity. That makes you the enemy. Instead, you attend the meeting, but you lie. You lie with your whole body, you wear dirty clothes, you rub charcoal under your fingernails to look unwashed. You hunch your shoulders to mimic fatigue, you tell them you are already out of food, you ask them for help, you become a drain on their resources, not an asset. Human tribalism is based on reciprocity. If you have nothing to offer, the tribe will reject you. That is exactly what you want. You want to be excluded. You want them to look at your house and see a dry well. While they are arguing over how to divide a single can of peaches, you are inside your fortress eating adequate calories, silent and safe. The third threat is the denialist. This is usually a family member or a close friend. This is the person who refuses to accept the new reality. Their brain is trapped in normalcy bias. This is a cognitive coping mechanism where the mind minimizes a threat. Because the truth is too traumatic to process, they will say things like the power will be back on by tomorrow, or we don't need to board up the windows, you're scaring the kids. They are dangerous because they are an insider threat. They will compromise your security protocols. They will open the door to strangers because they still believe in the social contract. They will turn on lights at night because they are scared of the dark. They will try to drive to the store. When the streets are a kill zone, they are a toddler in an adult's body. You cannot reason with a denialist using logic. Their logic center is shut down. You have to handle them using containment protocols. You take their keys. You hide the batteries to the radio if the news is making them panic. You physically lock the doors. And you keep the only key on a lanyard around your neck. It sounds harsh, it sounds controlling. But you are the designated survivor. You are the captain of the lifeboat. If a passenger tries to drill a hole in the hull because they want fresh air, you don't argue with them. You stop them physically. The fourth archetype is the silent auditor. This is the most dangerous predator because you won't see them until it's too late. The auditor is the quiet neighbor, the one who watches. They aren't panicking, they are calculating. They are observing patterns. They know you have solar panels because they saw the reflection. They know you have water because they saw you carrying buckets in the rain. They know you are home because they saw the candle flicker through a crack in your blinds at 30 Hozard AM. The auditor is an opportunist operating on the path of least resistance. They act on a risk-reward ratio. They will not kick down your door while you are awake. They will wait until your biological clock forces you to sleep. They will siphon the gas from your car. They will strip your garden. They will test your door handle silently. They erode your resources by attrition. To defeat the auditor, you need to engage in psychological warfare. You need to make your home feel like a trap. We call this target hardening through noise discipline. You are going to use trash to build an early warning system. Smash glass bottles. Spread the jagged shards under your ground floor windows. It is primitive, it is ugly, and it is effective. The sound of crunching glass is distinct and terrifying in a silent world. It screams injury and infection. To an auditor, infection equals death. Run fishing line across your perimeter at shin height. Attach the line to empty tin cans filled with a few pebbles or nuts and bolts. When they trip, the rattle gives away their position. You strip away their stealth. Once an auditor loses the element of surprise, they move on to a softer target. You don't have to be invincible. You just have to be louder and sharper than the house next door. The fifth and final archetype is the Good Samaritan. This breaks your heart and then it breaks your supply chain. This is the person who knocks on your door with a starving child. This is the elderly couple begging for medication. This is your morality testing you, and this is where most people die. Survival is a physics problem. It is calories in versus calories out. It is thermal regulation. It is hydration levels. Physics does not care about your empathy. If you have calculated your food stores for 3 people for 90 days and you let 2 more people in, you have not saved them, you have killed everyone. You have cut your survival time in half. You have introduced new pathogens into your sterile environment. You have introduced variable human behaviors into your controlled system. This is called lifeboat ethics. If the lifeboat is full and you pull one more person out of the water, the boat swamps and everyone drowns. The water is cold and indifferent. The collapse is the same. The fix here is the hardest thing you will ever do. It is the silent refusal. You do not engage in conversation through the door. Conversation builds a connection. Connection builds guilt. Guilt opens the door. You put a sign up, Sesiknes Inansidi, QARNTE. It is a lie, but it is a lie that saves lives. It repels the Good Samaritan because they are looking for safety, not disease. It repels the auditor because they don't want to loot a plague house. It keeps your conscience clean enough to function, because you didn't have to look them in the eye and say no. The world you know is built on a delicate web of promises. The promise that the police will come, the promise that the water is clean, the promise that money has value. When those promises break, the people who believed in them break too. They shatter into sharp, desperate fragments. You are not trying to fix the world is broken. You are trying to outlast the breakage. You need to be cold, you need to be calculating. You need to look at your neighbor and not see a friend, but see a variable in an equation that is trying to balance itself to zero. Identify the archetype, deploy the counter, measure. Keep your door locked, keep your head down, and remember, the most dangerous thing in the dark isn't a monster. It's a human being who just realized they are going to die.